jury present due to the fact that there is a lack of request for jury trial. And if there is no written request for jury trial, the case goes to bench trial.
Is that really how it works? Because I don't think that's how it works. In fact, I'm pretty sure that's not how it works. Anyway. All right, here's the first little trick they use. Now, you just got to remember, these motherfuckers, no courts want to have a jury trial ever. They want to stick with the bench trial and just, do it at their own will or whatever. So there's a bunch of tricks that they use. And this particular 13th Judicial District uses the, you need to make a written request for that, right? Okay, that's the one that they use the most. Here, let me show that first. They'll change it too from written demand to a written request or a written notice, which is dumb. But and then Jill, she takes it a step further in the one I recorded 2 days ago. But anyways, here, just let me show you how they do it first.
Filed any kind of demand or request or notice for jury trial. Have you?
I thought that was entered into the last court session.
Well, I don't think you filed any motion. You told me you told me you wanted a jury trial, but you never followed through.
I thought that was a decision that we made as the court.
Well, you and I did not make a decision as
Oh yeah, he was probably mistaken about that.
Proceed in an orderly fashion and just set it for pretrial.
I am certainly Mr. Canfield. I believe I'm proceeding in to set this. Counsel, any objection to setting this for jury trial? He has not properly made demand for jury trial.
Not by the state, Your Honor.
All right, we'll set this for jury trial. You must appear February 5th.
One more time, Phyllis, into my good ear, please.
We'll set this for jury trial. You must appear February 5th at 9 a.m. We'll set this for jury trial. You must appear February 5th.
Okay, so February 5th comes along, and guess what? He's there.
Now, I have not seen, let me double check. I don't think, Mr. DeBoos, that you have filed any kind of demand or request or notice for jury trial. Trial hearing, and you must appear February 7 and 8 at 9 a.m. for your jury trial. Your jury trial will be, again, February 7th and 8th at 9 a.m. Now,
okay, I'm going to stop beating a dead horse, but I think we all see what's going on here. She's like, oh, where's your request? Dude, that is a straight sabotage, straight up.
Counsel, any objection to setting this for jury trial? He has not properly made demand for jury trial.
Okay, so to get this kid from having a jury trial, they create a fake jury trial for him, tell him that he doesn't have to write the letter demanding one, gets the state to agree with it, and then they both reiterate when his trial is, right? And then whenever that date comes, and then they accuse him of not being prepared and not fully following through with his request for a trial. Think about that.
All right. We'll set this for jury trial. You must appear February 5th at 9 a.m.
Okay, so after this, then the standby lawyer, check this out. Patterson a fucking award for this. Listen to this lovely bit here.
Any kind. Mr. Patterson, do you believe it's acceptable for him to just say he wants a jury trial?
Your Honor, pursuant to case law, because there are at least up to 1 year in the county jail possible, if it's ever consecutive, then case law would state that he has a right to a jury trial. Agreed,
but does he not need to put something in writing to that effect that he wants one? That was my question.
Because there's an absolute right to jury trial, he would not have to put it in writing. It would have to be specifically waived by him, Your Honor, and I don't think he's done a waiver.
Very well. Do you agree with that, Mr. Regier?
One moment, Your Honor. Your Honor, what I can say at this time is pursuant to KSA 6238 subsection B, quote, on any issuable trial by right by a jury, a party may demand a jury trial by serving the other parties with a written demand, which may be included in a pleading no later than 14 days after the last pleading directed to the issue is served, and found the demand in accordance with KSA 60205 and amendments thereto.
Mr. Patterson, in spite of that statutory language, do you think he needs to waive his right to jury trial? Did I hear that right?
Absolutely, Judge. Pursuant to case law, and I don't dispute the statute whatsoever, but there is certain case law that makes it a constitutional right to a jury trial if the sentence would be up to a year in the county jail, and in this case, consecutively, it could be up to a year, the longest possible maximum. So it would have to be waived by him, and he would not have to make anything in writing to receive that.
Wait, so what are we talking about?
This is a constitutional right we're talking about, Your Honor. This is a constitutional right we're talking about, Your Honor. Constitutional right we're talking about, Your Honor. Constitutional right we're talking about, Your Honor. This is a constitutional right. This is a constitutional right we're talking about, Your Honor. Talking about, Your Honor. Talking about, Your Honor. Talking about, Your Honor. It would trump the statute.
Okay,
It would trump the statute.
okay.
And that was damn near.
And he would not have to make anything in writing to receive that. And he would not have to make anything in writing to receive that. And he would not have to make anything in writing to receive that.
He would need to have his filings on file at least 7 days advance of a hearing for me to respond, and that there is no proper written request for a jury trial at this time. Therefore, this case could go to bench trial on Wednesday, and we would not have to have a jury present due to the fact that there is a lack of request for jury trial. And if there is no written request for jury trial, the case goes to bench trial.
I'll give you one guess where this case ended up, but still, keep listening.
Miss Gillett, we just had this exact issue on not filing a demand for jury trial in a Butler County case right before the lunch hour. Mr. Patterson presented Patterson presented 19 Canap 2nd 982, State of Kansas versus Gardner L. Jones III. Jones raised two issues on appeal: whether the district court abused its discretion by denying his request for jury trial, and whether the district court erred in denying his motion for setting an appeal bond. Well, I have not had time to read that case over the lunch hour, which began at 1 o'clock today because we ran so late this morning. But Mr. Patterson, as an office of the court, informs me that in a case like this, even though the statute of Kansas is very clear that you are to put your demand for jury trial in writing, the case law says you don't have to because of your constitutional right.
So this was in February. This is in February of this year, as she was told. And they're not the only ones. Everybody, look, watch, even this guy and Judge. Anyway, watch.
You choose.
Let's take this to trial. I want a jury trial.
All right. First of all, let's answer the question about the attorney. Are you presenting yourself? And that you
I will represent myself unless I'm financially able to hire an attorney. But last time I spoke to my attorney, Mrs. Mary Ann Shirley, she told me that Jill Gillett does not like me. That's where all this is coming from.
First of all, Ms. Gillett is not the judge. I am.
You've
been before me before.
It's okay. Jill forgets she's not a judge too. Watch.
This you submit when you come into our jurisdiction. Therefore, when he traveled into Kansas and operated a motor vehicle, he consented to the laws and jurisdiction of Kansas. And I would say that we have jurisdiction, and that lack of venue and jurisdiction is denied, should be denied.
Thank you, Judge. I mean, County Prosecutor, for denying that motion.
Yes, sir, I know.
All right, so are you
I
still on
misspoke.
probation?
Yes, sir. As far as I know.
Well, if you're on probation and convicted of a new offense, that'll be a violation of that probation.
That's why Miss Gillett is doing this. My attorney already told me Miss Gillett does not like me. That comes
Right
from
now-
Miss Gillett to my attorney.
Right
That's
now,
a conflict of interest.
right now, you don't have an attorney on this case. Is Ms. Mary Ann Shirley are you going to hire her on this case?
I will talk to her, but Gillette knows what she's doing. She likes tearing families apart. What happened when Karma finally
Mr. Perez
come to
Beal,
yours, Gillette?
Mr. Perez Beal, you've indicated that you want a trial. And you also indicated that you wanted to have a trial by jury. To do that, you have to file a written request for a misdemeanor.
I have to find.
Crazy how they're all wrong in the exact same way, right? I see innocent people. Do you see them, Jill?
No.
Are you going to uphold your oath as a constitutional gatekeeper and be the arbiter of justice for these people?
No.
Okay, so maybe you just follow the law and do the bare minimum. Are you going to at least do that, but still be honest?
No.
So at the very minimum, you're going to tell lies and stuff, but only to the bad guys, right? It's only going to be to the really, really bad, like the baby rapers and the super duper hardcore criminals, right? Not guys with petty crimes?
No.
Well, that's kind of what we figured anyway, but
It's going to be an interesting morning. I have no voice.
I also have no brains, and I only have a little bit of compassion for my fellow people. It's going to be a good one. Yep, that's what happens when you party all night. I remember the first time I lost my voice and wasn't sick. It was a Warped Tour in 1999. Think about last time you were sick. How many times did you smile? Was it even possible? I couldn't even smile last time I was sick. It hurt my face.
Mr. Paul, do you need a breakout room this morning?
No. Thank you. Good morning, everyone. Morning, Judge.
Morning.
Morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Judge.
All right. Miss Gillette, are you going to be able to make it through the docket?
I hope so. I've been sick since Saturday.
Oh, man.
If you've been sick since Saturday, why are you at work risking other people to get sick when you can Zoom from home? You inconsiderate piece of...
All right. Obviously, the Burton case that announced for trial is the case that's been needed to be tried for a long time. So, and it's, we wouldn't be able to try this case next week anyway. So I'll grant a continuance, and this will be at the defense request for speedy trial purposes.
Okay, see, notice how he said at the defense requests, like, and made like a note of it, because it really does matter who's the one that's making the continuance. You know what I'm saying? And it's a huge, huge deal, an immediate grounds for dismissal if the state is doing this, untruthfully or, backhandedly or, purposely withholding evidence that was supposed to be turned over within 30 or 90 days.
Okay. Did you stay?
And this guy here has been Jill's ongoing victim for the last 2 years, it seems like. Let's go a little bit further with this one.
All right, there are two cases set, this time both entitled State of Kansas versus Jeremy Austin, 24 TR 251 and 23 CR 144. Would counsel announce appearances, please?
May it please the court, this state appears by Gillett County.
May it please the court, Mr. Austin Pierce from a separate location by Zoom and with counsel Mary Ann Shirley.
Thank you, counsel. We were last before the court August 22nd.
Just like that other one, months in between the court dates, lots of months.
Were announced.
And then
for trial.
A reason that the trial's not
If I
happening.
recall correctly, they were announced for jury trial, and I had a question as to whether or not these were cases appropriate for jury trial.
A question? When did you have that question? 4 months ago or just now? Because if it was 4 months ago, you waited 4 months to answer your own question, and if it was just now, then you just answered your own question just now, which is weird.
And I believe these are not appropriate for jury trial, but rather bench trial. Ms. Shirley, do these two cases still need to be tried?
That's another one of their tricks, how to get around the speedy trial rights, is they set people who have like these petty misdemeanors for jury trial, and then when it gets, wait 4 months or 6 months or a year, and then be like, oh, well, I guess I was wrong, and change it back to a bench trial, and, you know, in hopes that they plead or whatever. But this reaction, you're not ready for this. No, you guys are not ready for this. Whatever conceptions you have about Mary Ann Shirley, change them, because she's awesome.
Well, I keep trying to get the county attorney to dismiss them, but so far she hasn't cooperated.
Okay.
Section, not that. I showed that the sweep 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 section.
I show that the sweeps have... What the fuck are the sweeps doing, Jill?
All right, we're getting some feedback, but I think that's been...
Wow, and the judge with the assist. Look at that. Immediately backing her up like cops do. So they're in a conspiracy together, conspiring or whatever. Now, that voice that we heard was Jill's elbow putting her tablet or her phone, whichever one she's on, hitting the button and putting it on speaker, and she's unmuted on Zoom. That's why we heard it. So... Even more interesting is the judge's reaction to immediately cover for her and say it's like static or whatever the hell he said. One more time.
Still need to be tried.
Well, I keep trying to get the county attorney to dismiss them, but so far she hasn't cooperated.
Okay.
Section, not that. I showed that the sweep section.
All right, we're getting some feedback, but I think that's been... Well, so these cases are still not ready to be plat out. They need to be tried.
At this point, Your Honor, yes.
Do you agree, Ms. Gillett?
Yes, Your Honor, and there's additional charges coming on Mr. Austin.
All right. Regarding the issue of...
She really is unbelievable. Let's hear that again.
Yes, Your Honor, and there's additional charges coming on Mr. Austin.
Between what I heard with my ears and saw with my eyes, I concluded that she said from this office.
The issue of...
Here, watch.
All right. Regarding the issue
from this
of,
office.
Jury trial as opposed to bench trial, did Ms. Shirley, do you care to comment on that?
Well, my client had requested a jury trial. This is there have been several cases brought against him, and there's some issues with regard to the ongoing, basically harassment.
Oh, how the tables have turned. The harassee becomes the harasser. Or has she always been the harasser? Yes, sir. Ooh, 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 ooh. Go, Miss Shirley. Fuck yeah.
And he wanted a jury trial so that everybody was aware of what was going on. And he wanted a jury trial so that everybody was aware of what was going on.
What did you say that was super duper a red, white, and blue American?
And he wanted a jury trial so that everybody was aware of what was going on.
Man, somebody picks this up and, gets some people to watch it, and we get to help this guy out and make a complete fool of Jill.
With regard to, these are both misdemeanors, Class C, I believe, on at least one of them. Yeah, but as I indicated, my client had requested a jury trial.
We need it in writing from him.
Okay, and this is where I just completely lose it. She done did it now. But yeah, dude, so we just found out that you don't have to do that. I mean, here, let's recap. Let's find out what we've already learned, all right, Jill? 10 months ago.
And then as Ms. Gillett stated, there needs to be even if we were to have a jury trial, it would have needed to have been requested in writing 7 days after the first notice of trial assignment, which I didn't see a notice in writing, but I think it's moot based on the State versus Jones case.
19 Canap Second 982, State of Kansas versus Gardner L. Jones III.
State versus Jones case. Well, we can't try these cases next week, so we're going to have to set them over.
And just as you would expect, they set the case for a bench trial. So, all in all,
let me try to find an appropriate date.
I have a Wilson County docket that morning. I'm free in the afternoon.
Can't think of any reason why.
All right, Mr. Austin, you'll need to appear by Zoom January 30th at 1:15 for trial.
Yes, sir.
Am I right? I think these citizens need to shut the hell up.
Boo!